So England dominated the second day of the third test at Headingley. They put on 303 runs for the loss of 8 wickets, which has taken their total to 423 for 8, and they have a substantial lead of 345. तो आज इस सब के बारे में जरा गहरी बातें करेंगे with our guest Neil Chakravarty, who's based in San Diego, California, and is originally from Hyderabad, India, on this volume of
CRIQAZI Diaries.
Have a look at that, Smiles up, oh, it's nearly taken someone out in the stands. That was a flat six right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand, up into the members, and it went like a rocket. Well, wicket 24.
Welcome to the show, Neil. Thank you so much for making it on such short notice. Or I'm guessing the spirits aren't too high given India's not doing too well in this test match.
Yeah, completely opposite to how I was last time I was here. Yeah, काफी खराब 2 दिन गए हैं. But that's what Test cricket can do to you. You're top one moment, and then the same exact 2 teams can look completely different.
Absolutely, and cricket can be a very humbling sport like that. But chalo, one person who hasn't really experienced that in 2021 is England's captain Joe Root, the skipper. He's had a prolific year, so मैंने कहा उसी से start कर लेते हैं. So Joe Root was, of course, the benchmark of England's performance today. 303 runs के अंदर से 121 उसकी हैं. He went on to score his 23rd Test 100, his 3rd Test 100 in the series. तो हर मैच में उसने सेंचुरी मारी है, and he is now England's second most highest century maker. He's level with KP on 23 centuries. Only Alistair Cook is ahead of him at 34. And the hallmark of his innings, really, Neil, I feel like it's the strike rate. इतने अच्छे strike rate पे वो खेला है, close to like 60-70. वो तो end में आकर थोड़ा slow हो गया, वरना तो he was going at like 80-90. Yeah. And then he's played with such supreme control, and he plays the ball so late. लग तो रहा है जिस तरह रूट नहीं रुकता इस साल.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a little bit of a bad patch at home, ये series के पहले, but I mean, Joe Root is one of the greatest batsmen this generation has seen. So, on one hand, it's not that surprising. I think what's surprising has been that ever since the last 3 series is Sri Lanka mein, and in England and India, and now, like, he just seems to be batting at a different pace. And like today, this innings, England really wasn't under a lot of pressure because the first innings from India was so bad. Like, it wasn't even like a 150 or a 200. Like,
right.
78 is, that a team like England will go past that. And the openers gave him a great platform. So by the time he came, there was really no pressure. But still, even with all of that said, you could still see the difference between Root batting and somebody else batting. So, I guess, all the records that you're talking about, I think we'll keep talking about these for a long time with somebody like Joe Root. So, yeah, there's really not a lot to add to what he's already been doing in this calendar year. So, he has an all-round play. You can't really have a strategy ki tum usko, you're going to cramp him outside off stump, or you're going to use the channel, because he can actually take you off, all the sides for runs. And that's what is happening today. Like, we tried getting him in the channel, and he just kept hitting those boundaries there.
Yeah, he gets those boundaries off with the third man wale area, man. He has a lot of control over there, and he just makes it seem so effortless. Honestly, I think he's really hit a purple patch over here. और काफी discussion होती थी कि is Root still part of the Fab Four? I think there's no debate at this point. He's definitely cemented his place over there. And Neil, to average over 50 in Test cricket, playing most of your Test cricket in English conditions. ठीक है, home conditions है उसकी, but you look at the other averages of England greats, and none of them average 50. ठीक है, बहुत पीछे जाओगे तो Wally Hammond वगैरह की आपको मिल जाएंगी, but I think that's a remarkable feat on its own. And then he's now hit 6 Test centuries in the year, which is a record. He's leveled Michael Vaughan, and there's some other guy जो उसने calendar year में 6 Test centuries मार दी England के लिए. And then as captain, the record is Ricky Ponting. He's the only one ahead of him at 7 centuries. और मुझे तो लगता है उसकी भी तोड़ देगा the way he's going.
Yeah, true. The whole thing with if you're talking about English batsmen, right? I think in my lifetime, the best English batsman I've seen has been Kevin Peterson. I know Cook's record is probably better, but मुझे Cook में I think I always felt like he had a few deficiencies technically, but like Peterson was the kind of guy like who had an all-round game, and he could take on the bowling regardless of what caliber it was. And I think Joe Root is like a more classical version of that English batsman. And high time they had proper. I think probably when was the last time world cricket had the best batsman in the world in Englishman? काफी टाइम हो चुका है.
I can't recall क्योंकि KP was also great, but it's not like KP didn't have flaws. आपको लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर के खिलाफ अगर आपको याद हो इन स्पिन बॉलिंग इन जनरल थोड़ी वीकनेस थी उसकी. But Cook has also suffered in seaming conditions up front. I would say Joe Root is the best English batsman I've seen, and he has a particular liking for India. He is now the most prolific century maker in India-England Test matches at 8. Sachin or a few other people were at 7, and उसने record तोड़ दिया. And he actually has a shot at breaking Mohammad Yusuf's record for the most amount of runs in a calendar year. Yusuf is at 1788.
Oh yes, I remember that series. That's that year. I remember that year.
2006 though. Yusuf has 1788 in a calendar year. ठीक है, कम टेस्ट मैचेस में है, 11 टेस्ट मैचेस. Root obviously gets to play more, but Root is only 390 runs behind him now. और जो centuries in calendar year का record है वो भी यूसुफ का 9. So I think Root even has a shot at breaking that.
I think if you just go by records, English cricketers generally have the best chance of getting all these test records because they play so much of it. अब कोई भी calendar year देख लो, they will consistently be among the top matches played in Test cricket. So he can do it, and he'll be a deserving person to get those records because it's not just the fact that he scores those runs. I think this was a pretty comfortable innings for him to score these runs, but he also scores when the chips are down. Like the last Test match, none of the England batsmen were performing, and
last two Test matches, दोनों में 100
Test match, England in India, that entire series, he was the only batsman who was doing something. So a game like today, you feel like he kind of deserves to completely go out there and stat pad his way.
Yeah, and I mean, ठीक है, I agree with you over there where you say कि England इतनी ज़्यादा टेस्ट क्रिकेट खेलती है, साल के 14, 15, 16 टेस्ट मैच खेल लेते हैं. It becomes easier for them to break records. But then again, I don't want to take anything away from him. Already काफी score उसने कर लिया, and ऊपर से he's got like about 5 more test matches, right? 2 more test matches in this series, and then 3 in the Ashes towards the end of the year. 2 test match फिर Ashes के अगले साल है. So 5 tests to score more than 390 runs, and I guess 3 more centuries पे he levels Yusuf. So I think Yusuf के record जाने वाले हैं. I think Root's going to break them all.
ये series में ना कर ले वो.
हो भी सकता है. 390 runs in the next 2 test matches is also possible because इस तरह वो बैटिंग कर रहा है इस वक्त. I've never seen him bat with this fluency. Like Root का हमेशा मसला होता था conversion rate. 50s कर लेता था वो, मगर 100s नहीं होते थे उससे. और अब तो लगता है कि every time he crosses 50, surely he's going to get 100.
Yeah. It's like getting him out is a serious problem right now.
And especially like जिस pace पे वो खेलता है, he puts the opposition under so much pressure. जो साथ उसके बैट्समैन होता है उससे प्रेशर उतार लेता है वो, and the opposition is always under the pump because he scores at such a fast rate and they're like इसको आउट नहीं करोगे तो बस रन लगते जाएंगे.
Yeah, and also I think right now the England team, if they do back him up, क्योंकि उनके बैट्समैन में है काबिलियत, like they have a lot of good batsmen, it's just that they haven't been clicking this series. So if they do form partnerships around him, then he can take the score, like within a session or two, he can take the game away from you. So I think that's what happened today. Like people like even Malan, like they played really well.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets some support, फिर तो England are always in a good position, I suppose. और फिर था भी घर पे, he's a Yorkshireman and he was playing at Headingley, so that was an added incentive. Khair, we spent a lot of time on the English skippers, so let's move on to the rest of the England batsmen. Moving on to the rest of the English batsmen, Neil, I'll start with the openers. और ये बहुत बड़ा मसला चल रहा था England के लिए. The openers have been described on this show as walking wickets. And they solved that problem this time. I'd say a little bit of it also counted for like India being rattled. You could see it, थोड़े dejected थे. Field maybe misfields, missed chances, overthrows. But I don't want to take any credit away from Haseeb Hameed and Rory Burns. Rory Burns was, haunted by the Indian Pacers early in the series, so it's an important knock for him. But Haseeb Hameed in particular, मुझे लगा था कि जब वो वापस उसने comeback किया ना second test में, it seemed like he didn't have that mental game mapped out yet. He got out on a half volley straight delivery. इस innings में आपको नजर आया कि how talented he actually is and that he could become a mainstay in this English team because he's an attractive batsman to watch, especially square of the wicket. जो उसके square cuts हैं, really good. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I remember seeing Haseeb Hameed a couple of years ago when he was making his debut in India, and he started off well. I think he got a half century or a century on debut, and then rest of the series didn't go as well for him. And then मतलब वो दिखा नहीं काफी दिनों से because I think he didn't just lose form. He was almost at a stage where he was losing his spot in the county team. So
yeah, it
seemed like he's gonna go the way of some of the other guys like Vikram Solanki and stuff like who you see for a while and then you don't see at all. But so it's really commendable that he's made a comeback and now if they can give those options at they have vacancies at the top of the order. So that's why these guys they keep getting chances. This is not the England team from like a year ago or so where maybe if you don't perform you will maybe not get a chance after. So Haseeb Hameed is a very attractive batsman and almost slightly I want to say like a little bit like Root, like a very nice offside game. Technically I think he can be a little suspect at times, but also I think this is these are the kind of games that will give him the confidence that he actually belongs at this level. But I think David Malan was the guy who really made the difference today. Kind of like literally took the game away before Root could. Root की जरूरत नहीं पड़ रही थी उस time पे basically. So.
नहीं, I mean, England का top order का बहुत मसला था. We've spoken about this earlier कि लग ही नहीं रहा था उनके वहाँ से कोई runs आएंगे, and that's exactly what they were able to deliver in this game. 135 run की opening partnership. Both Haseeb Hameed and Rory Burns got runs. But as you mentioned, David Malan, that was an inspired selection. I think a very smart selection because David Malan has succeeded for England in the limited overs formats. So international cricket का जो pressure होता है ना, वो तो he has figured out. Test cricket में he has failed. 15 टेस्ट उसने पहले खेले, he averaged below 30, but I think it was the right time to reintroduce him. He's also a Yorkshireman, तो एक तो home ground का advantage था उसके ऊपर. And then आते साल he cut the ball so well, he drove the ball so well, offside पे उसकी भी game बहुत अच्छी थी और वो भी आकर attack कर रहा था. So I think that is one of the real successes of England. ये जो ने टीम अपनी revamp की है थोड़ी सी कि number 3 पे Zach Crawley try किया, Haseeb Hameed try किया, नहीं मिल रहा था इनको बंदा. And David Malan I think could be that guy who they could move forward with, especially in an Ashes year.
Yeah, and they'll need these options. I don't know कितने लोग वापस आएंगे. If people like Ben Stokes come back, I don't know how that changes in terms of the options, but no, I mean I think David Malan was the guy I was like really impressed by with the way he was batting today. Like if you look at the highlights, like his shots look as pretty as Joe Root's. So I mean he's taken his chance. He got the chance, and now I think he'll get these chances now for the rest of the series. And he doesn't have the psychological. Like the bowlers don't have the psychological edge over him as much as say somebody like Haseeb Hameed जिसके runs नहीं बढ़ रहे थे इसके पहले. But I mean these are good signs for England right now.
And as you mentioned, these guys get a lot of chances now. आप Sibley की मिसाल देख लो. Sibley got so many chances, but he kept failing. So now that Haseeb Hameed and Malan have gotten runs, I think they're going to persist with these guys till the Ashes. But one more thing, of course, that 139-run partnership between Malan and Root. I think that is kind of where England just took the game away from India today. And that was like the standout partnership of the day. And just Malan, I thought he looked good for a century. वो थोड़ा unlucky भी हो गया. It's always unlucky when a batsman gets dismissed down the leg side. Good review over there though.
सिराज को पता नहीं कैसे
वो कोहली वैसे तो कभी कोई रिव्यू ठीक नहीं लेते, मगर ये वाला अच्छा crucial रिव्यू ले गए.
I think कोहली ने जैसे the moment Siraj was like शायद review के लिए जाना चाहिए. I think Kohli looked at him and like, भाई क्या कर रहे तू? Like, neither you nor me, like, we both have a terrible record. Like, why are you trying to do this? तो, but हाँ, मान ली उसकी बात. I think करते भी क्या? Like, I think the interviews बाकी थे and like they had so many runs on the board. So, yeah, it was a unfortunate dismissal.
Yeah, और वो जो partnership का I think जो main आपका theme थी ना, anything where width was offered, it was dispatched. They did not miss any of those deliveries. And India की bowling थोड़ी off color रही है. They were quite consistently short and wide. But खैर, we'll come to them later. Just to wrap up on the English batsmen. Yeah, what's the problem with Johnny Bairstow? He always comes out looking so good. He gets set, gets a start. आज भी 29 पे था. And then he loses his wicket. And then whenever he loses his wicket, it seems like the floodgates are open for England. और इस तरह की position में वो थे आज कि even if Johnny Bairstow, if he even also got a 50 plus score, then England would have ended the day with lesser wickets down and they could have batted even longer, completely batted India out of the game. So I'm just not sure kya chakkar hai Johnny ka, because he's such a successful cricketer in white ball now. Red ball mein, that's where he started off, by the way, if you remember. Test cricket mein uski shuruaat hui.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't seem to kick on और हमेशा अपनी crucial time पे wicket वो फेंकते थे और आज तो pressure भी नहीं था.
Actually, your point there, कि pressure नहीं था, that is the most valid thing, because I was thinking like the way he, you know, sometimes Johnny Bairstow comes out and there is the onus is on him to like keep the scoreboard moving. In a innings like today, I don't think there was as much as a need to do something like that.
With Root going the way he was.
Yeah. So, and there is like, there are 3 days after that, after this. So, but I guess, you know, that's just like he doesn't have the mindset of a long form batsman. Like even if you see his appearances, it's not like he plays a whole bunch of county cricket in his off time. So I guess you know, he just needs to have one innings where he's like batting for like hours and hours and then get into that test match mindset.
Yeah. Chalo, aaj to at least he got a decent delivery from Shami, seam up, and even actually Rory Burns got a really good one from Shami.
Yeah.
But khair, Johnny Bairstow to chalo, he still got 29. Who I'm really disappointed with are Jos Buttler and Moeen Ali, because they have a bit of a reputation कि इस तरह की situation में when the pressure is off and you need to like score. This was a tailor-made situation for them, and both of them failed to capitalize. Both of them falling in double digits. I think Butler fell for 7 and Moeen Ali fell for 8. So, in दोनों की जो जगह है ना, I'm not sure they've quite locked it down over here. Jos Buttler भी ठीक है, he's a fantastic talent. But Test cricket में he's always seemed a bit suspect to me. And Moeen Ali too. I mean, I feel like England are going to have better options than Moeen. You know, आप शायद Stokes को Moeen की जगह ले आओ और एक frontline spinner खिला लो.
Yeah, I mean Moeen को जगह बनाना मेरे को लग रहा है like among the two of them. Moeen probably like as a spinner, उनके पास options है, but they kind of like seem to every year or so at some point they go back to Moeen Ali. So I think he will keep his spot for some more time. He was looking really good today, by the way. Like the way the couple of shots he hit. So, but again, like I don't think he also like, you know, has that role to like just keep going and going in red ball cricket. So, but I think उन दोनों में से Jos Buttler is the guy who might be under some pressure, because you are gonna have those players coming back like Ben Stokes in the middle order.
And if Johnny Bairstow is getting more runs than Jos Buttler, then you might as well keep with him. But yeah, I was disappointed, especially the manner in which they got out. Like काफी soft dismissals थे और मोइन का तो बहुत ही गंदा dismissal था, ugly one to look at. But खैर जो damage हमने उनसे expect किया था, they somewhat England got that from Curran and Overton. Curran of course did get out eventually. Short delivery thi Siraj ki, was trying to hit it out of the park but got caught in the deep. But Overton out of nowhere, you know, पहले 3 विकेटें ली, अब आकर crucial runs कर रहा है. He's the reason England's lead is not 300 but 345, and it seems like these guys, like the 2 wickets रह गई England की, they're going to make India work really hard for those 2 wickets.
Yeah, it's I mean they literally have their foot on India's neck and they can literally do anything to the game from now on. अगर तुमको slow खेलना है, like, you know, pick a session, they can actually declare overnight. and have India face the bowling first thing in the morning. If there's overcast conditions, if there's dew on the wicket. So literally like this, no matter what they do, there is no wrong way to go about the game right now, until India bats like say a couple of sessions.
So in this segment, Neil, I just want to talk about India's bowling effort. And, one person I've been really disappointed with is Ishant Sharma. I thought, पिछले test में आया था, I thought he was a really good selection, and I was in favor of retaining him for this test. So, he was very consistently short and wide, and he was almost inviting the batsman to score fours on him. So, उसकी performance से मैं काफी disappointed हूँ. Siraj did get 2 wickets, but, I don't think he bowled well either. He was quite expensive. Yeah. Bumrah or Jadeja, I thought they put in a good shift actually. They were miserly, they didn't give away too many runs, they got 3 wickets between them, and then that Bumrah dismissal of Root was quite eye-catching. And then Jadeja too, jo usne usko out kiya Steve Amit ko, that was a really good dismissal. So I think those two get a passing grade, but Siraj and Ishant don't at all for me. And then Mohammad Shami I thought was the pick of India's bowlers, और उसके तो बहुत खूबसूरत out भी थे, like he got Bairstow off of a good one, and Bairstow too was a Yorkshireman, तो वो big wicket थी, क्योंकि home ground जब आपका होता है तो it's obviously an added advantage. And then that delivery to Rory Burns was just an absolute peach. So I think Shami has worked really hard for his 3 wickets, but yeah, overall a poor outing for India.
Oh yeah, terrible. I mean, this seemed like one of those days we were used to in the Dhoni era, where Dhoni captaincy era, when you go abroad and you just look out of ideas as a bowling unit. So काफी throwback था, but I thought at least folks like Bumrah, Shami, Jadeja, they stuck to the plans and they kept drawing mistakes. Abhi, the mistakes didn't lead to anything, but they at least every other over, they were causing some issues. Ishant and Siraj were real problem. Like Ishant, I don't even think I've seen him bowl this slow. Like forget line length, even the speed was low. Speed had dropped. So this seemed like the Ishant's career is 2 parts.
Yep.
I remember a stat I used to follow very diligently every month or so about who's the worst bowler in the history of Test cricket, who's played 50 plus games. Because usually if you're that bad a bowler, you get dropped in your first 20 games, first 30 games. तुमको इतनी chances मिलती ही नहीं है, unless you're a bowler from like Zimbabwe or something. Ishant used to be in the top 5 of that bracket till I think 2016.
Yeah, 16-17.
16-17.
उसके बाद से तो he was averaging like 20-21 with the ball.
Yeah, exactly. तो उसके बाद से तो मतलब he's averaging almost like Michael Holding and stuff. So
yeah,
it's been a remarkable. Like I think Ishant, if he ends his career at a sub 30 bowling average, it'll be one of the, and he's like I think 31, 32 now, और उसका कम हो ही जा रहा है. So I think it'll be one of the most remarkable mid-career turnarounds I've seen in a cricketer. But anyway, today was essentially that Ishant. Again, line length, no consistency. It's not that he was not bowling good balls at all. He was bowling a few good balls, but like there's no consistency, and he's not putting the pressure that we have become used to from him now. And as I said, like the speeds were low.
The body language was really poor.
Yeah.
काफी dejected था. And then you've mentioned, of course, that he's been a workhorse, right? जो वहाँ तक पहुँचा था 50 test तक is because India की pitches पे you need those kind of bowlers, who can put in a shift. But I was really surprised to see this kind of a performance from Ishant, because I was impressed with what he produced at Lords. Or Lords तो उसका है भी पसंदीदा ground. But this begs to ask the question, is this the end of the road for Ishant Sharma? Because you have Shardul Thakur waiting in the wings. I'm pretty sure he might even be introduced for the 4th test. So would you persist with him? Because off days आते हैं हर bowler के, but this was consistently bad for a long time in the entire innings. So I'm not sure if Ishant could carry on in this series, especially when you have Shardul. And then how long can he even go in Test cricket now that India have all of these options and that he is quite old?
I think as long as his fitness, I think his fitness has been a little bit of an issue. But even coming back, he has shown that he can, he get back to that pre-injury form. So as far as personally, I think we should still persist with him for some more time, because the advantage that he gives us with his height, I don't think any other bowler has that. And for me, like a fast bowler is a fast bowler, and Shardul Thakur will have to wait. So unless it's like a pitch that's like very conducive to seam and swing. So if somebody like Ishant has to go, I think what will happen is eventually we will go back to the 3+2 formula. Abhi hum 4+1 khel rahe hain. Like if we go back to the 3+2 formula, and then I think the question becomes like, do you keep Ishant for his experience, or you go ahead with Siraj? I think that will be the choice more than Shardul.
It will be an interesting choice. I would be keen to see how they go about things in the fourth test. Just a little bit of Mohammad Shami, pitch काफी easy. Pitch काफी easy हो चुकी थी by the time England came out to bat. It was a horrible toss to win, actually. Weirdly enough, I'm still not sure why Virat Kohli chose to bat over there, given the history of Headingley and day ones over there. But I think Shami Joanna, he really showed some character over here. Like he proved that he is like the spearhead of this Indian attack, even though I do agree that Bumrah is a more talented bowler. But I think consistency, agar aap dekho na, so wicket taking and just consistently maintaining those speeds and that carry and bowling in the channel, I think Shami is the best India have in that department.
Yeah, I think Shami, he is our most consistent bowler. I mean, it's not much of a difference between Shami and Bumrah, but yeah, if you really have to pinpoint one of these guys as the most consistent, probably be Shami. Uska problem pehle yahi hota tha ki one of his deliveries, he always used to, because of his natural angle, would swing onto the leg side. वो उसने cut off कर चुका है वो. And even a day like today, where things were not going your way, he still didn't fall into those bad habits. So yeah, I mean, something good to take, I guess, from a day like this where nothing really is going on, that our two best bowlers on paper, Shami and Bumrah, at least stuck to the plan. Yeah, maybe that will help. The thing is, I feel this game is gone. So,
yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Because we 78 पे जब all out हो जाते हो, तो फिर अब तो like
you can't really blame the bowlers much.
You can't blame the bowlers much, and I think he did a decent job. But chalo, let's move on to the next segment and let's talk about what we can expect from this test match. So in this segment, I always want to discuss, with you where you think this game is headed, and if India have a chance or not to save this game. So as it stands, they are 345 runs behind. Of course, England ke bhi lead बढ़ रही है. They aren't all out yet. And as we discussed earlier, England will make India really work hard and toil for these wickets. And the toil will continue for India tomorrow. But once they do get England out, let's say with 360 tak ki lead ke baad, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that India bats out 2 days and बारिश आ जाए. हो ही सकता है ऐसी चीजें. So there are certain situations in which you can imagine India saving the game. Of course, winning the game is out of question now. But what I want to talk to you about is कि discipline नहीं नजर आ रहा मुझे India के batsmen में. I see a lot of them getting out, fishing outside off deliveries that they can leave. And then I think openers ने आपको runs कर दिए, ठीक है, you can't fault them. Openers कभी ना कभी fail होंगे आपके इंग्लैंड में. हर मैच में नहीं चल सकता. तो राहुल और रोहित को तो मैं इधर at fault रखूंगा ही नहीं, even though that was a really ugly dismissal, Rohit Sharma wala. And then Pant Jadeja won't save you every day. So the onus really comes on Kohli, Rahane and Pujara, all of whom are averaging under 30 in 2021. Virat Kohli has gone 50 international innings without a century. So ये काफी बड़ा cause for concern, and I feel कि अगर India have any shot at saving this game, these three, ये जो spine है India की, supposed spine, they have to get runs. They are the only ones who can save India over there. And they can. They are proven batsmen. ऐसी बात नहीं कि कर नहीं सकते.
They have to get runs. They have to stay at the wicket for a very long time, and then they have to hope for rain, because I think, as I was saying in the previous segment, I feel this game is gone. What you can do is not let the psychological effects of this game carry on to the next game, which means you have to have maybe a 400 or a 300, at least a 300 plus score, and some of those batsmen have to get runs, because as he said,
avoid an innings defeat at the very least.
avoid an innings wicket, absolutely. Which is going to be tough because you're going to be under that pressure, and mentally when you're facing some of this bowling, you're going to be constantly thinking about. I mean, these track record will be playing क्योंकि काफी बातें हो चुकी है. Like even before last Test match, Pujara and Rahane's spots were under the microscope. They played brilliantly last Test match, in the last innings. But somebody like Kohli, for example, who's not going to get dropped, but I mean, it is a problem. Like if he is our best batsman, if your best batsman hasn't got a century in so long and isn't really impacting series, it's going to be a problem. I thought so I think the New Zealand game, he was the World Test Championship final. He had like an average game, but I thought in India, he was playing really well, but he's not getting those big runs. And then similarly, when we were in Australia, he left off the first Test match. But then if you see the Adelaide game where we actually didn't, India got out for a very low score, he was the only batsman who was performing. So I feel it's a matter of time till the runs start coming back, because but kab tak, like how long will you keep waiting? Like
we've been saying this for a while. Even I feel the same way. Of course, no one is doubting Kohli's quality over here. We all know he's class, but you feel that he's one innings away from being that player again. But wo innings ab kafi der se aayi nahi hai. So it continues to be a worry, and I think it must be playing on Kohli's mind. Maybe the captaincy is getting to him, and I think India, at least should take this as an opportunity. The middle order, at the very least, should take this as an opportunity to bat themselves back in form, regardless of the outcome of this game. Kyunki yahan pe, if they don't score runs, India ka mushkil ho jayega ye series jeetna. And they need those three to fire.
And the biggest reason why they need those three to fire is because we are playing with five bowlers regularly now, which means your established batsmen are essentially till your number 5. Uske baad then there is Pant and Jadeja, and then the bowlers, and I've spoken about it previously. Even though they did really well in the last one, but I don't really.
आप consistently bank तो नहीं कर सकते ना उन सारों के ऊपर, lower order के ऊपर. They can save you sometimes, but not always. And the top order has already performed, and they will, I'm sure, perform again. But I think middle order ke paas bahut achhi opportunity hai. Look, the pitch is never going to be as difficult as the first session again. And, it seems like it's eased out quite a bit. So this is a perfect opportunity to bat themselves into form and to regain some momentum in the series. And like you said, psychologically, bilkul out na ho jaye series se. An innings defeat could be avoided. India are capable of getting 400 to 500 runs. Kafi time hai game ke andar. It's still very early. We've only had 2 days. And I feel like, if India are able to bat 2 days, then you never know. It is possible that India will save this game, but obviously highly unlikely. I don't think that England would put their foot off the gas in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough to recover from 78 all out in the first innings. And, the pitch has eased up. Best case scenario, get the 300, get the 400, and get some runs get that appetite going of making runs. I think that's all you can do. Barish ho jati hai, agar, for a couple of sessions and stuff, then great. But I don't really see us saving this Test match. A couple of players can probably save their career because
Rahane और Pujara तो particularly, I think they really need these innings. और इस Test match से पहले तो बोल रहे थे कि we've done it before, we know how to perform under pressure. But it's getting quite ugly at this point. और ये काफी mainstays रहे हैं इंडिया की टीम के लिए. And then you have Hanuma Vihari, who hasn't been too bad in Test cricket, तो आप दे सकते हो उसको भी मौका. So yeah, these two I think are under the scanner. Of course, Kohli तो drop नहीं होता, but they should just use this as an opportunity to spend time on the crease. Bat them.
Yeah, because these players, I don't think any of these three will get dropped this series. So, which means that we definitely need these guys to perform. अगर हमको जीतना है ये series, it's 1-1 after this game, fine. If you want to win this series, you need runs from these three guys for the rest of the 2 games. So, which makes it all the more important that they actually do their thing.
Yeah, and even as a neutral spectator, everyone would want to see India go down fighting. not just, England blowing them away. So let's see if that happens or not. One final question for you, Neil. Do you feel like Indian batsmen have a bit of an issue with the deliveries outside off, because they didn't have to play those deliveries in the first innings?
Yeah, I think that is an issue when somebody like as accomplished as Jimmy Anderson is putting their best
Jimmy
bowlers.
Anderson was setting them up really well. 4 अंदर लेके जा रहा था, 1 बाहर. But still, India की batting is revered around the world. They're one of the best batting sides. तभी तो हम ये बात कर रहे हैं कि क्या पता मैच भी outside chance है कि शायद मैच बचा ले. But England में अगर आपको सीरीज जीतती है तो you have to be more disciplined leaving the ball, I think.
I think पहली बात तो like you also have to like pick your battles. If you see the CRIQAZI का मैं देख रहा था like the stats, they give a pitch rating for based on this seam and swing on every delivery in every session. I think the pitch rating on day 1 and the highest being the toughest was 6.7, and now it has gone down to like 4.6 and stuff. So questions need to be asked as to why the decision was made to bat to bat first. You are going to get these days. I think outside off stump, a lot of players have this issue, because if you see the entire batting lineup except for Pujara, everybody's a stroke maker there.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for volume 31. Thank you so much, Neil, for making it to the show. And of course, as always, if you liked this video, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell icon in order to be notified about my latest videos. And if you have any questions that you want addressed for future volumes, tweet them at DefMango using the hashtag #CRIQAZI. That's all for now, folks. I'll catch you after day 3. Kazi off the mic.
Have a look at that. Miles up. Oh, it's nearly taken someone out in the stands. That was a flat 6 right under the stand there, the George Giffen stand, up into the members, and it went like a